Good evening. I'm here to directly oppose the ordinance of renaming the Mayor's Commission on the Status of Women, mainly on the basis that the organization has been and will continue to be used as a part of a multi-pronged anti-white cudgel called the Human Rights Committee. The ordinance reads specifically in regards to the renaming within another piece of legislation that the membership of the HRC will contain a person from the following groups, quote, someone serving on the African American Affairs Commission, Indian Affairs Commission, Tulsa Women's Commission, someone who advocates for the handicapped but doesn't need to be one, someone that advocates for the rights of the LGBTQP community, and one person to advocate on behalf of veterans. Oh, and the remaining members at large. This is quite enlightening, knowing now that the government of Tulsa makes sure to include all the groups of people that definitely matter, except for one. And I think everyone here and watching elsewhere knows that they purposefully exclude white people, because advocating on behalf of white people in itself is a human rights violation in the eyes of our city's leadership. It may surprise most here, but the ordinance and the edits within were written by a woman that actually isn't even from Oklahoma. She's from New York, Crystal Reyes, and she brought with her her anti-white sodomite agenda. The mayor's office, the city council, as well as Mrs. Reyes are all batting for the same team, but I can assure you that they are not on the side of white people. In fact, the office that the ordinance was written by was by the Mayor's Office of Resilience and Equity, or MORE. This office advocates on behalf of every racial and sexual group except for white people. They say so themselves. Why is it that there are offices within the city government for minorities and an absolute minority that is the LGBTQP community, but there is no advocacy groups, affairs commissions, or committees for white people? Some people may call it wokeness or CRT or some other code word. It's just anti-white hatred. The government of this city have pursued an anti-white agenda with its key goal of inciting anti-white violence and destroying normal families so an absolute minority made up of bourgeois homosexuals, transsexual drag queens, and their ilk can prey upon our children even within our schools and churches, while white men are openly murdered in the street by violent black men. As is the case of Carlton Guilford, who brutally executed two white men, London Hathcock and James McDaniel, from behind simply for being white. He admitted this in his statement to the police as well as the district attorney's office. This was an anti-white hate crime, but there was no increase of the sentence for which he aptly deserves, which should be death, dealt to him in front of the victims' families. That would be the least of the justice afforded to them by the state. The city's had no statement, no advocacy groups speaking on behalf of the families of these victims. These incidents were ignored and memory hold by the end of May of this year. Silence speaks louder than war in this case. This is just one example of the crimes against our people that happen on a daily basis, most of which go unreported. As such, the people in the NJP demand the immediate liquidation of any and all racial, sexual paraphilia, or other advocacy groups on the basis that excluding white people is a violation of our Title VI civil rights. If we can't have it, none of you shall. Let me make this clear to everybody in case there's no misunderstanding. The National Justice Party is here to advocate on behalf of white people, including those of Tulsa and the rest of Oklahoma, where the city fails. We are here to make sure that white people no longer languish under the boot heels of people who hate us simply for existing. We are done being treated like second-class citizens in our own lands, deprived of political representation as punishment for some imagined grievance, which is used as an excuse to harm us. The anti-white vitriol that comes from the mayor's office in the form of committees and ordinances advocating on behalf of the other, all the while leaving out the majority population, should be seen as a clear indication of his political hostility and racial animus. This is unacceptable, and we will work to confront this at every juncture. This city requires new leadership. This city deserves better, and this city deserves the National Justice Party. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.